Ball pits and sandboxes. That's Bueshcer.
Hey there, this is Lisa, and I want to tell you all about my recent ride at Bueshcer State Park in Smithville, Texas. So I had never ridden the trails there, but I had taken my gravel bike on the roads around Bueshcer and Bastrop State Park. I was really curious, so I snagged my boyfriend and we went out there this morning, and man, I thought it was going to be super easy and tame because I had only ever seen the dirt trails from the road and they didn't seem like a big deal. I was expecting something along the lines of McKinney Falls, and honestly, in a way, it was tame. I'm glad I just took my steel gravel bike. I have a Fairdale Weekender and I have 650Bs on there. They have 2-inch tires, so I can have a little squish, and really that's all I needed, because one thing about Bueshcer is it doesn't have any limestone, it doesn't have any rock ledges or anything like that. It does, however, have roots, lots of loose gravel and rock. So not fixed rock garden, but all loose stuff, and a lot of tracks that are just sand.
Not more sand coming up.
There were actually far fewer tracks of trail that were simply carpeted in pine needles than I expected, especially having ridden out at Bluff Creek Ranch in Warda, Texas, and Rocky Hill Ranch, also in Smithville. So overall, my impression was it would be a great place for someone to practice cyclocross, because the trail was actually pretty dynamic and there were a lot of loose climbs to do. One of the downsides of riding a gravel bike out there was just the gearing, because there are so many climbs. I personally do not have a ton of power. The way I climb is I scoot my butt all the way to the front of the saddle. I have personally coined this rose to the nose. You might be aware of boobs to the tubes. I mean, if you are a lady cyclist, these are what are they called whenever you're trying to remember something? Whatever it is, I need one of those for that word. But so whenever it comes to climbing, you'll hear things like, oh, boobs to the tubes, and that basically reminds the cyclist to like fold their body over and get a lot of weight over the front. That way when you're climbing, you're not like herky jerking the handlebars up and with your weight back and just popping wheelies basically all the way up the hill. But if you don't have a lot of upper body, like I don't, I'm all like, I have these big old Greek grape stomping legs, so I have no upper body to speak of. All my weight is below the waist, so it's easier for me and folks shaped like me to just move, like physically move your whole self up in the saddle, and I call that rose to the nose. All of the hills were climbable to me, an intermediate rider, but I did get pretty exhausted after doing a few of them. So there were 2 hills that I just noped out of. One because the line was on the left and I didn't see it soon enough, and so I just foot downed, and then the other one because I was just tired. Like I got almost to the top and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so steep.
That was hard. Heart rate 177.
Both of us really liked Bueshcer. We would totally go back. I would be curious what the experience is like on my full suspension mountain bike. Bueshcer State Park is about a 50-mile bike ride east of Austin, Texas, and a lot of folks from Austin will use it as kind of like a 1-night, 2-night bike packing sort of trip. If you go east of Austin, it's all pine trees. It's the Lost Pines. It's really cool how the state of Texas has these beautiful big old pine trees, whereas a lot of the rest of Texas is just desert. One of the coolest things about being a cyclist in Austin, especially someone that rides dirt, is if you go out west, it's all limestone and rock and chunky stuff, and then if you go out east, it's all pine trees. If you are seeking flow, east of Austin is the place to go. Bueshcer itself is on the water, and it doesn't seem like it's too hard to get a campsite. Today I saw many campsites open, and it is September 7th. The weather is starting to cool down here in Texas. It was just a high of 90 something today. If you are more into road riding or gravel riding, there's routes around Bueshcer and Bastrop State Park that people do, and those are really beautiful because you get so much elevation. There's some really tall hills to climb by road with gorgeous views, and so I think that's probably why that is the preferred route for gravel riders. Anyway, this whole experience made me just want to plan a bike camping trip to Bueshcer. I think it would be super fun. I can't wait to go again, and I'm curious to spend more time in the water this time too. If you are from Austin or visiting Austin, might I suggest coming on over to Dear Diary Coffee House. That is my little baby business. I have wonderful baristas there. They're all sweethearts, and I'm really proud of our products. So yeah, I'd be quite pleased if you stopped by and gave us a visit and left a note in one of our community journals or something like that. Okay, well, thanks. Bye.